Welcome to my channel. Today, we dive into the real story of Genghis Khan. A story far deeper, far more complex, and far more surprising than what most Americans have ever heard. This is not the cartoon-like version of a bloodthirsty barbarian riding across Asia, burning everything he sees. This is the true, unfiltered life of Temujin, the man who would become Genghis Khan, shaped by betrayal, survival, strategy, genius, and a vision that changed the world forever. Our journey begins long before he became a conqueror, when he was simply a boy born on the harsh Mongolian steppe, a place where winters froze entire rivers solid and tribes lived by the rule of strength alone. Temujin's father, Yasuge, was the leader of a small clan and believed his son was destined for greatness. But destiny is rarely kind. When Temujin was only 9 years old, his father was poisoned by a rival tribe. With the leader gone, Temujin's family was abandoned by their own people, cast out onto the unforgiving steppe. Hunger became their daily companion. Danger was everywhere. Wolves roamed freely. Rival clans hunted the weak. Temujin learned that no one would save him. If he wanted to survive, he had to become stronger than anyone expected. But strength wasn't the only lesson he learned. He learned loyalty and betrayal. His own older brother, Börte, tried to dominate the family and steal food from them. For young Temujin, this was not something he could accept. The tension grew until, one day, Temujin made a decision that shocked even him. He killed his own brother. It was a turning point, a moment that shaped the leader he would later become. Ruthless when necessary, determined at all costs, but also aware of the price of power. Moments like these forged him, piece by piece, into a leader capable of controlling men who lived in a world ruled by violence. As he entered adulthood, Temujin faced a second shattering blow. The kidnapping of his wife, Börte, by the rival merchant tribe. For most men of that era, this would have meant defeat. But Temujin was not most men. He rode to the camp of his childhood friend, Jamukha, who had become a powerful noble. Jamukha agreed to help. Together, they launched a daring raid deep into enemy territory. Against all odds, Temujin rescued Börte. This moment solidified his belief in loyalty, but it also planted the seeds of one of history's greatest rivalries. Temujin and Jamukha had grown up as brothers, but their visions for the steppe were opposite. Jamukha believed in old Mongol aristocracy, where nobility ruled and commoners obeyed. Temujin believed in something revolutionary. Freedom for common people, promotion by talent instead of birth, and unity between all tribes. This idea was dangerous. It challenged centuries of tradition. It threatened powerful leaders. It made Temujin a target. As he gained followers, the tribal elites grew angry. Civil war erupted across the steppe. For years, Temujin fought. Jamukha outnumbered and outmatched at almost every battle. Yet, he kept winning. His strategies were unlike anything the steppe had seen. He reorganized his forces into groups based on talent, not family ties. E demanded discipline. He rewarded bravery with promotions, wealth, and loyalty. His army moved faster than any force on earth, surviving on dried meat and fermented milk, riding up to 8 horses per man, so they never slowed down. He studied enemy psychology. He used fear as a weapon. He used mercy as a weapon, too. He understood that unity required both. By the end of the war, Temujin had crushed the old Mongol aristocracy. In 1206, it was declared Genghis Khan, meaning universal ruler. He now commanded the unified Mongol nation, a first in their history. But unification was only the beginning. Genghis Khan looked outward and saw a world filled with threats. He believed the steppe would never be safe unless its enemies were defeated. His first target was the powerful Xixia kingdom, which controlled valuable trade routes. He used a mix of diplomacy, intimidation, and lightning-speed attacks to force their surrender. His next target was far more dangerous: the Jin dynasty of northern China, one of the richest empires on earth. The Jin believed they were invincible behind their massive walls, but walls meant nothing to Genghis Khan. He adapted. He studied Chinese siege techniques. He recruited Chinese engineers. He built catapults, siege towers, and explosives. He used a strategy Americans rarely hear about: total mobility combined with total adaptability. At first, the Jin didn't take him seriously. They believed nomads were too primitive to conquer cities. They were wrong. Genghis Khan's forces swept through northern China with precision. They cut supply lines. They isolated fortresses. They crushed armies 5 times their size by feint retreats, a tactic where Mongols pretended to flee in panic, only to turn around and encircle their pursuers. It was psychological warfare mixed with strategic brilliance, and it worked again and again. While these battles reshaped Asia, another challenge emerged to the west. The Khwarezm Empire, located in modern-day Iran and Central Asia, insulted Genghis Khan by murdering his trade ambassadors. This was not a small mistake. Killing a messenger was, in Mongol culture, one of the greatest possible insults. Genghis Khan responded with a campaign that military historians still study for its precision and coordination. He divided his armies into multiple columns attacking from different directions, confusing the enemy. He used spies to gather intelligence months before the invasion. His generals were masters of deception, creating dust storms to hide troop movements and using signal flags to coordinate attacks across huge distances. The Mongols crossed deserts thought to be impassable. They attacked cities believed to be unconquerable. They even built floating bridges to cross rivers faster than their enemies could react. America rarely hears this side of the story. Not just violence, but innovation. Not just destruction, but strategy. Genghis Khan was building the first truly global network, a massive interconnected empire stretching from the Pacific Ocean to the Caspian Sea. Under his rule, trade exploded. The Silk Road became safe for the first time in centuries. Merchants traveled with Mongol passports guaranteeing protection. Religious freedom was guaranteed across the empire. Communication improved through an international relay system of horses and riders, allowing messages to travel thousands of miles in days. He banned torture. He outlawed kidnapping women. He made stealing livestock a crime punishable by death. He established a legal code, the Asa, that applied to everyone equally, noble or commoner. This was revolutionary, but Genghis Khan was not a saint. His campaigns were brutal. Entire cities were wiped out when they refused to surrender. His enemies feared him to the point of surrendering without a fight. But his brutality was targeted, not random. He believed that a terrifying reputation saved Mongol lives and ended wars faster, and he was right. Many cities surrendered simply upon hearing he was approaching. Meanwhile, Genghis Khan continued to transform his empire. He promoted talented generals, regardless of ethnicity. Some of his best commanders were Chinese, Turkic, and Persian. He gathered knowledge from conquered lands, scholars, engineers, doctors, and brought them into the Mongol administration. He created an early form of international law that protected trade, travel, and diplomacy. The empire became a crossroads of culture where ideas from China blended with ideas from the Islamic world, spreading across Eurasia. But even the greatest conquerors faced mortality. In 1227, during a campaign against the Shishia, Genghis Khan fell ill or, according to some stories, was injured in battle. He refused to stop fighting. When he sensed his death approaching, he ordered his generals to keep the news secret until the campaign was finished. His death remains a mystery, and his burial place is unknown even today. After his death, his empire did not collapse. Instead, it expanded even further under his sons and grandsons. Kublai Khan would conquer China and become emperor. Hulagu Khan would conquer Persia and destroy the Abbasid Caliphate. Batu Khan would lead armies into Eastern Europe, reaching as far as Hungary and Poland. The Mongol Empire stretched across 11 time zones. It was the largest land empire in human history, but what Americans often don't know is how much Genghis Khan changed the world beyond war. He connected the East and West centuries before the age of exploration. He encouraged scientific exchange, medical advancement, and cultural interaction on a global scale. Many of the ideas that shaped the Renaissance in Europe traveled through Mongol-protected trade routes. Even modern international law echoes his early legal reforms. But perhaps the most surprising truth is this: Genghis Khan did not see himself as a conqueror. He saw himself as a unifier, a protector of his people. a builder of systems that would outlast him. His legacy is complicated. It is a mixture of destruction and creation, fear and respect, brutality and brilliance. But the story Americans rarely hear is the full story. The story of a boy abandoned on the steppe who rose through hardship, betrayal, and sheer willpower to create an empire that reshaped the world. Genghis Khan was not just a warrior. He was a strategist, a lawmaker, a revolution in human form. His life is a reminder that history is never simple. It is shaped by leaders who are both good and bad, visionary and ruthless, brilliant and flawed. And Genghis Khan, more than almost any other figure in history, proves that one person, even one person born in the most unlikely place, can change the destiny of millions. This is the real story Americans don't know. The story of the man behind the legend. The man who rose from nothing to change everything. Video bna lihai mane, yiha story jo apni, dithi.